David Stokes from the Show Me Institute, a policy analyst for the Show Me Institute. Good morning, David Stokes.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
I love the new setup.
You like the new digs, huh?
This is terrific.
This is almost like a real TV show. It's almost like we're coming up in the world. Yeah, make sure you sign. They want everyone coming in to sign the wall in the green room. So as you're leaving, above the mirrors where you put on the makeup, sign the wall.
I spent about 20 minutes there.
And make sure you sign David Stokes. Don't be signing somebody else's name.
Like
over
Snoop
there.
Dogg or anything
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. All right, David Stokes, let's get to it. The Normandy story, which would have been a big story the last 2 weeks, except for the fact that the Ferguson story overshadowed it. But lots going on with this Normandy transfer. Now, I guess, more kids are being allowed back in after this judge's ruling, right?
Right, and this is a story that seems to change every couple of days. And I'd encourage interested listeners to not only keep up with it here on the Big 550, but at showmedaily.org, our blog where we cover it pretty closely. But right, a judge decided that it's not going to be allowed. The school districts that accepted students from Normandy last year can just reject them this year. So, this is a terrific ruling, and I'm very appreciative for it. Those kids who were getting better educations than they had been last year at Francis Howell, at Rittner, at Pattonville,
but the
they're
judge
gonna be
only
allowed to go back.
The judge only ruled that the kids attached to the lawsuit were allowed to go, right? Originally.
Correct. And then Pattonville and Rittner did the proper thing and said they were just going to take the big picture of the ruling and allow all the kids back from Normandy. But Francis Howell is still fighting that and still now only going to allow I believe the one child in the lawsuit who went to Francis Howell, that's the only one they're going to allow back. And that's just ridiculous. That's just being an impediment here for these kids. Francis Howell should allow all the kids back. And I also understand that Ferguson Florissant, though they were not in the lawsuit, is also potentially only going to allow a couple kids back and not all of them back as they should. So hopefully Ferguson Florissant will make that change as well. In their defense, they've had bigger things to worry about for the last week or two in that school district.
But the lawyer who we've had on the show numerous times said he's going to sign up as many kids who want to go to Francis Howell, and they're going to try and shuttle them through the law process so that the judge rules that it's in favor of them too.
Right, and this is just where Francis Howell is just being obstructionist. They know they won't win this lawsuit, at least in front of this judge. They might take it to appeal and potentially win there, but they're just fundamentally doing the wrong thing here.
Right.
They've lost in court. Here are kids that had a good year out in Francis Howell last year. Francis Howell, the whole thing worked out fine. That was one of the lessons from the past year, is that they divided the kids up. They went to a number of school districts, and it worked out well. Kids got a better education. None of these disaster scenarios proved true. It worked out. So that was the real tragedy of such radical changes in the summertime this year through DESE and elsewhere, that a system that was working for the kids who transferred was so dramatically changed. And it's a good thing that it's going back to what it was last year, because all that really matters to me is that these kids in the program have an opportunity for a better education.
Yeah.
Now that Normandy is their status, they're not unaccredited, not really accredited. So who is paying now for these students to go back to these other schools that they were going to? Is Normandy still paying, or
I understand,
the other districts?
yes. Normandy is still paying. I mean, Normandy was taken over by the state,
right?
But Normandy is still collecting local property taxes, still getting their share from the state education fund. So they're still raising the money they need, and they're spending it on the kids who have chosen to remain in Normandy School District and paying the schools that are taking the students that have transferred out. Now, the DESE did so much in the last 3 or 4 months, and not all of it was wrong. A lot of it was wrong, but not all of it. I mean, setting a cap on the amount that they were going to pay per student was perfectly reasonable. They set a cap of, I believe, around $7,500 per transfer student for the school district that takes them. Now can't charge them, $17,000 or something. They're going to get $7,500, which is more than enough to cover the cost of educating one child there.
Because it's already set up. The desks are already there. You're already paying the teachers. You're still air conditioning the rooms. So adding another couple of students doesn't add so much more cost.
Correct. You don't have to build a new building for these kids. You're fitting them into the space that all of these school districts had, and you can see the case study, available seats, by my colleague James Scholes at Show Me Institute to discuss that. That's online at showmeinstitute.org.
Right.
There was room, and thankfully, most of the school districts are doing the right thing now and accepting these kids back. And a number of school districts had already decided to, even without the court order, do the right thing and accept kids.
I want to get quickly to what's going on with parking. You like this change? What did they do here?
I do like this change. The City of St. Louis and the Treasurer's Office, Treasurer Tashara Jones, they're updating the parking meters in the City of St. Louis. And I was concerned that they would take half measures and sort of go to the parking meters that made it easier for them to get your money, but not add all the technological conveniences that phone apps and the like can provide. And the good news is that and you can see this at showmedaily.org, they've decided to really go all the steps. They're going to contract with a parking meter company downtown in the West End that you're going to be able to pay via your phone, add time via your phone if your meeting goes long, your lunch goes long, within the limit, of course. You can't go from a 2-hour time limit and stay there for 4 hours with your phone. But within the limit, you can do all of this via your phone and via credit card, but you can still use cash or coins if you want. It's really going to be a nice system, and it's going to take some time for people to get used to it, of course, because it's such a major change. But I think it'll really be a nice improvement. And what's great is it will allow them to get so much more information as to who's parking where, who's staying all this technology that they'll be able to use to make better judgments on how to price parking.
I like this system better than the Clayton system, where you have to go to the machine and then walk back with the sticker and then put it on the sticker. I like this, where it's right there. You put your credit card in the machine, or you pull it out, you hit a couple buttons, and you're on your way. Right, yeah. As opposed, do you have a nickel? Do you have a dime? I need change for $1. I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
The Clayton system that's what I was concerned about, that they would take these half measures to improvement. I've been told by Clayton retailers that when it's raining out, Clayton makes a fortune because nobody fills the meter. It's pouring rain. Now you got to walk to the middle, pay, go back to your car. Well, nobody does that. So everybody's parking without paying, and Clayton writes tickets.
You heard it here first. The city more advanced than Clayton.
I hope that Clayton follows the lead and steps up to these better parking meters, too, for the rest of downtown
Look at that.
Clayton.
St. Louis City leading the way. Who would have thought?
Who knew?
Oh, my goodness.
Treasurer Jones deserves credit for this, I think.
David Stokes, how do we get a hold of you?
Everything we talk about, everything we put up is at showmeinstitute.org, at our blog, showmedaily.org, and I'm just excited to be here in the new studio with much closer to my house than Westport.
You betcha. David, don't forget to sign the wall.
The Wall of Fame.
Thanks, guys.
8:45 here.